Today we're going to make a Swiss cross Flexagon. It's part toy, part optical illusion. Here's the one I made. To make this project, you will need 2 square pieces of paper, a ruler, a pen or pencil, scissors, glue, and a craft stick. The craft stick is optional. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to fold the first square piece of paper in half. Just like that. And then you're going to fold it in half again. Just like that. Now you're going to open it up and you're going to turn it clockwise, just a quarter to the right. Now you're going to measure halfway in with your ruler and make a mark. You're going to make your mark on one end and the other end. We aren't going to be making a fold down the center of this side, but we do need to fold in the sides to the center. So the mark is to show where the center is. So now you're going to fold these 2 sides to the center. Just like that. And then you can open it back up. Now hopefully you can see that I've got a crease going down the center on one side, or down the middle on one area. And when I turn it the other way, there isn't a crease going down the center. There's just the 2 sides that are folded up. Now you're gonna fold the second sheet of paper exactly the way you folded the first one. So you're just gonna fold it in half, fold it in half again, and then you're gonna open it up. Now, if you don't have a ruler, you can use your other square piece of paper as a guide. So either fold it in half and line it up with one side of the square to make your marks, like that. And you're set to go. So now, oops, I made a mark on my lined side. Don't do that. You want your fold to go in the opposite direction. So I forgot to turn it a quarter to the right. Now I'm going to do that again. I'll put my half of the other folded paper on the end. Now I have it's going the proper way. Fold those 2 sides to the center, just like that. Okay. Now that your 2 pieces of paper are folded properly, you're now going to glue them together. Now, this is a little bit tricky because you want to make sure that your the fold that goes down the middle is going in the opposite direction when you're gluing them together. And by this I mean, if I show you with these 2 pieces of paper, these 2 pieces of paper, I've marked where the fold is. So if I want to make sure that the 2 folds are going in the opposite direction, I'll make sure that I turn one and slide it over the top. That way, you're actually making a cross with those 2 center folds. And if you need to make a mark on the center fold of your the first time you're making the Swiss cross Flexagon, then you should do that because it is helpful, especially if you just get confused easily like me. So you want to make sure that your folds are going in the opposite direction when you're gluing. So I've made sure that that's happening here. I'm going to put glue in 4 corners on one of the page papers. And now I'm going to slide the second one over because I know my folds are going in the opposite direction, and make sure that those corners are glued together. Now you need to wait for the glue to dry. Okay, our glue is dry, and now we get to make the cuts. So you're gonna take your scissors and you're going to kind of poke your finger. See how there's a gap in the center here? Oops. The gap there, and there's a gap here. You want to open up the center just slightly. You don't want to rip it apart because it is glued there. You don't want it to come unglued. But what you want to do is you want to kind of just put your fingers in there so that you can create a gap, because you're going to be cutting along the folded line now. So on one side, you're going to be cutting side to side, and on the other side, you're going to be cutting up and down. So as long as you're cutting along your folded line and you're not cutting through the other side as you cut the top, it should work just fine. So I'm going to put my scissors through that little gap. I'm going to cut along the fold like that. Then I'm going to flip it over, look for the fold, and now I'm going to carefully kind of just create a gap there with my fingers, poke the scissors through that opening, and then cut along the folded line. And now you are done. What you'll do as a final step is you'll fold back. Your object will your paper will kind of look like this as it stands up. You can fold these two down to the center, the pieces that you cut, make sure it's flat. But to make the Swiss Cross Flexagon work, you open up these and the backs fold backwards, and you'll take your craft stick and they'll just kind of make those folds more defined, those creases more defined. And then you'll turn it a quarter to the right or the left, depending on how you want to turn it. And then you'll fold it back again. This time it makes the cross, or it gets its name. And then you just use your craft stick to just make those creases more firm. Then you'll turn it a quarter again, open it up, and now it's back to a square. And you can keep folding it back on itself. And this is where you can then make pictures on the pages to change where it shows up. Just like I did for this one. Now, once you get really good at making these, it's fun to experiment with different types of paper. So maybe you want to use origami paper, as I did with this one. This one's, I didn't make the creases yet, but I will. This one's a little bit bigger than the one that we just made together, but still works really cool. You can try using cardstock or scrapbook paper, but have fun with this one. Enjoy.